The top 5 mistakes you're making as a real estate wholesaler or realtor, whatever it is you're doing in this business of real estate wholesale. In this video, we're going to talk about the 5 mistakes you're most likely making as a real estate wholesaler or a realtor and why you're not closing any deals. In the list of these mistakes, it could be a combination, it can be an extreme variety of 1 or 2 of these things, but if you're making one of these mistakes, you're not closing any deals, you need to fix these mistakes as soon as possible and start making some money. So the first mistake you guys are making is you guys are not making enough calls. You guys are not driving for dollars enough. You guys are not calling distressed properties enough. And you guys are not looking for sellers who need to sell their properties. A lot of wholesalers want to JV with me. These are just owners are not motivated enough. Remember, the number one thing in real estate wholesaling is finding motivated sellers. If the seller is not motivated to sell that property, you need to move on and find a new lead to go off of. The number one thing you want to look forward to is a motivated seller. Perhaps they're in a distressed financial situation. Perhaps their property is torn to pieces and they want to sell. Perhaps they don't even live in the state anymore and they want to sell that property. They don't know what to do with it. Or they're even going to a probate situation. They're going through a difficult situation in their life. And that's when you come in to help. There's many wholesalers and realtors out there who just want to think about the money that they'll make selling that property, but they don't think about the outcome of helping that individual. Our main purpose in real estate is to help that seller in whatever situation they're in. If they're going through pre-foreclosure, foreclosure, whatever it is, you help that seller out and you let them know that you're here to help, not make money off of them. But again, this is America, it's capitalism. You're not in this for charity, but you're in this to help them first. If you follow that method, you get a deal done. Number 2, next mistake I see a lot of wholesalers and realtors make is getting the ARVs totally incorrect. What I recommend to you guys, if you're new to this game, is to go back and check every ARV possible. Spend time running ARVs on properties that you're not even going to make an offer on. Remember, in this game, repetition makes greatness. The more calls you make, the more numbers you run, the better you get at it. What I like to do in my spare time is just go over properties and run numbers. I love running numbers because it makes me find numbers quicker and more accurate. Now that when I run my ARVs, it takes me no more than 5 to 10 minutes to find ARVs. If I can't find an ARV to a property, I'll call a realtor and see what's going on. Plenty of wholesalers and realtors are shy of working and networking with one another. If you don't have an idea or don't have a clue of what that property is worth after the repair value, which is ARV, connect with someone who might. Ask someone in that area who may have more knowledge about that property than you will. And remember, finding an accurate ARV is not finding the ARV. You will never find the exact number of the after repair value of the property. You just want to get somewhere in that neighborhood accurately. For example, if a property has an ARV value of $250,000, I always like to say, okay, this ARV is within $225,000 and $265,000. Always like to give myself a buffer under, but a little buffer over. I always like to underestimate my ARVs because you can always win underestimating, but always lose overestimating ARVs. Be realistic with yourself. An investor, a buyer that you send this to, is going to know exactly what number they need to have this property at. These investors are not successful because they're just buying the properties willy-nilly. Leave that to BlackRock. Now, the third mistake I see individuals make in real estate is undervaluing the repair costs. The repair costs are extremely important. Just like the ARV, I have plenty of wholesalers and realtors who send me deals, but the repair values are nowhere near what they say it is. I guarantee you, if someone sends you a deal, they're usually saying the repair cost is within $30,000 and $50,000. But in reality, it's $70,000, $80,000, $90,000. Floors are about $10,000. Kitchens, another $10,000. Bathrooms, $10,000. These things add up, and we're not adding the roof, basements, and every other miscellaneous things that need to be added to this property. Just like the ARV, I like to overvalue my repair costs, maybe get a realtor, or even get the cash buyer to walk the property itself. If the property is on a lockbox, it's always a plus because I can send my cash buyer or a contractor out there to get me an actual repair cost. If you don't have an idea of what repair costs cost, go to ChatGPT or call a local contractor in that area and ask, what's these repairs like? Send them pictures and send them anything you think that might need repaired in this property to get that property to the exact ARV or close to that ARV, which we spoke about earlier. Repair costs are a huge factor in what your buyer is going to be willing to pay for this property. We're looking for motivated, distressed properties. So if the property needs a total rehab, depending on where you're buying, it's going to cost a lot more than if it just needs a cosmetic rehab. Make sure you're not undervaluing these repair costs because your buyer is going to look at you like you're crazy. Now, the fourth mistake I see individuals make is not having a good contract or not having the property under contract at all. The main way to get your deals stolen is by shopping them without venting your buyers or by not having this property under contract with a title company. If you look back on my videos, I show you guys how to run ARVs and how to run these repair costs. You guys need to be sure you guys are running these numbers well, because once you send this to the title company and you put your EMD, if you have a bad contract, now you become liable for that property. I've had individuals send me contracts that they only had 10 days inspection periods and only 10 days in the contract. Terrible idea. Your contract should be at least 30 days for you to back out. You should always have a clause that if the inspection doesn't go well, if the walkthrough process doesn't go well, you can back out and get your EMD fully refunded by that title company. If you guys need a contract or an agreement, I have an agreement available that helps you back out of the contract if you need to do so legally. You want to always make sure that you're checking with your state to make sure, one, real estate wholesaling is legal in your state, but if not, there's always things like double closing and ways you can always close that property. If your contract is tight and nipped, you will never have a legal issue when it comes to that property. Individuals who have terrible contracts, who write their own contracts, or don't even get advice from attorneys and lawyers. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an attorney, I'm not telling you what to do. Make sure you always check your state laws and with attorneys near you for any legal advice when it comes to real estate. Don't ever shop your contracts without having them under agreement first, unless you have a confident buyer that you can shop it to. That's called reverse wholesaling. Usually when I do that, I have a very confident few buyers that I ask, hey, if I get you this property, what will you be willing to pay for it? They let me know. Hey, Ralph, get this under contract for this, and we're good. That is for when you have established buyers and buyers you are confident with sharing that information. Now, the last, not the only mistake that wholesalers and realtors make to not get these deals closed is having a terrible buyers list. Plenty of you guys have these properties under contracts, but don't have anyone to shop it with. You guys know my rules. If you haven't seen my other videos, I always preach an 80-20 rule. You go shopping for motivated sellers 80% of your time, and 20% of your time you're looking for buyers in that area. That's why I don't always recommend you shopping from state to state and hopping to find motivated sellers. You want to remain in one area, one location, and find buyers in that area, and make sure you're establishing a relationship with these buyers. Treat these buyers just like your sellers. Treat them with respect, but don't feel like you're the slave neither. This is a partnership, and that's what I always call to my sellers, and I say, hey, my partner and I are looking to buy, because at the end of the day, you and this buyer are partners. You're finding the deal and he's bringing the cash. Partners. And unfortunately, a lot of us wholesalers lack in the buyers department. We have to make sure that we have some good quality cash buyers, and we are venting those buyers out. The way to vent those buyers is by giving them a call and striking up a conversation. You ask them, hey, are you still buying in this area? Have you worked with wholesalers before? Are you okay with working with assignment of contracts? And if so, are you okay with me making $100,000 on a deal? Not saying that I'm gonna make $100,000 on this deal, but if I was to make $100,000 on this deal, and the deal works for you, are you okay with me making $100,000 on a deal? And if they say, man, whatever you make, that's fine. As long as I get a deal and it works for me, we're okay. I've also had buyers tell me, man, no, I'm not, I won't lie to you, $100,000 will be too much of a spread for me to pay. And that's okay. Those are the buyers that unfortunately I wouldn't want to work with at the beginning, but I'll have them on the back end. The buyers who I want to work with are buyers that I speak to on the phone and have no problems with wholesalers making an assignment fee. But I appreciate you guys watching and tuning in. Remember, these are the 5 mistakes that I find wholesalers and realtors making throughout real estate. It's not the only mistakes. If you know of any other mistakes or have any questions about the list that I have made, go ahead and leave your comments or concerns below. I always get back to my supporters, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And if you need any help JVing or closing out a deal, please reach out to me via YouTube or most likely Instagram, where I'm most likely putting up more personal content. And if you haven't yet followed, please follow my Instagram, TikTok. All of the links will be below down in the link below. Till then, stay tuned and stay out of these mistakes.